Have you ever heard about the Silva Mind Control Method?
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, I mean, reportedly over 500,000 people have taken this course.
Wow.
And they're saying they're experiencing some pretty amazing things. It kind of makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder what's possible, right?
Yeah, like what kind of potential is just sitting there,
Totally.
locked away in our minds. So that's what we're going to dive into today.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We're going to explore the Silva Mind Control Method,
Absolutely.
based primarily on the book by José Silva and Philip Miele.
Right. The book that lays it all out.
Exactly. And they make some pretty big claims
Oh, yeah, they do.
about what this method can help you do.
Like what kind of things?
They're talking about things like unlocking hidden talents, remembering things you thought were lost forever,
What that memory is, yeah.
controlling pain, even speeding up healing.
Like accelerating the process.
Yeah, breaking bad habits, and even boosting your intuition.
Intuition, that's a big one.
Yeah. So for you listening, we're going to give you a shortcut,
Straight to the good stuff.
yeah, to understanding the core ideas of this method. And we'll throw in some pretty interesting stories.
Surprising examples from the book,
In
yeah.
the book, yeah. So our mission today is to really figure out,
Unpack it, yeah.
unpack this. How does the Silva Mind Control Method propose to unlock the mind's potential?
And what could that actually look like in your day-to-day life?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's start with the basics. What exactly is mind control?
Well, so the book says that it's usually a 40 to 48-hour course.
Wow, that's a commitment.
Yeah, but they do make it clear that you can learn it on your own through the book.
Oh, interesting.
Though they say it'll be slower, obviously,
Sure.
and you don't get the energy of the group, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just about like zoning out and relaxing.
No, not at all. It's what they call dynamic meditation.
Dynamic meditation.
Yeah. So the idea is to get to a really deep level of mind, specifically the alpha brainwave state, which is between 7 and 14 cycles per second.
Wow, I didn't know there were levels to it.
And sometimes even theta, which is even deeper, 4 to 7 cycles per second.
So what's the difference between those?
Well, think of alpha like when you're really engrossed in the book.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, and theta is like even more so. It's more dreamlike.
Okay.
Often when people have intuitive insights, they're in theta.
I see. And the goal is to use these states to actually solve problems.
Exactly. It's not passive, it's active.
Interesting. So it's like a tool.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds like they're claiming even more than that.
You're right. They go even further.
Like what?
Well, they say that mind control can train you to awaken powers or senses beyond the 5 we normally use.
Okay, now we're getting into some interesting territory.
Yeah,
That's a bold claim.
it is. But the book includes this quote from Nadine Berlin. She was a beauty editor at Mademoiselle magazine,
Okay.
and she had a really interesting take on it.
What did she say?
Well, she said, some people look to things like drugs for mind expansion, but mind control teaches you the how. It puts you in control, unlike drugs or even hypnosis.
Oh, so she's saying it's more empowering.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your own mind.
And expanding it yourself.
Yeah, and she suggests that the only limit to what you can do, discover, even help others with, through mind control, is basically the limits we set for ourselves.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Okay, so let's talk about the man behind all of this, José Silva.
All right, let's get into his story.
Yeah, who is he?
So, José Silva was born back in 1914 in Laredo, Texas.
Okay.
Had a pretty tough upbringing, actually.
In what way?
Well, his dad died when he was just 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And by the time he was 6, he was already helping his family by selling newspapers, doing odd jobs, you know.
Wow, so he had to grow up fast.
He did. And get this,
Uh,
he didn't actually go to school until later in life.
really?
Yeah, like when he was already teaching his mind control methods.
That's pretty amazing.
It is. He was mostly self-taught.
How did he learn?
Well, one way was through this correspondence course on radio repair.
Okay.
But he couldn't afford to actually enroll in the course, so he basically rented it, did all the lessons and exams under his barber's name.
That's incredible. Talk about resourcefulness.
Yeah, he was driven.
So he wasn't some kind of guru.
No, not at all. The book really emphasizes that.
Okay.
It says that even though his method became really successful,
Right.
he never saw himself as some kind of, spiritual leader.
I see.
He was just a regular guy, very practical,
Okay.
even had a bit of an accent when he spoke, focused on the success stories.
So he was all about practicality.
Absolutely. He wanted to show how ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things by using their minds effectively.
That's a great message. Okay, so how do you actually do mind control? How do you get started?
Well, the first step is learning to reach what they call your level. which is the alpha brainwave state.
Right, that deeper level of mind we talked about.
Exactly. And the book gives you this basic meditation technique.
Okay, what is it?
So you sit comfortably, pick a spot on the ceiling or wall, about 45 degrees above eye level.
Above eye level.
Yeah, you look at that spot until your eyelids feel heavy.
Okay,
Then close your eyes
I'm with you so far.
and start counting down in your head.
Counting down.
Yep, from 50 to 1 for the first 10 days or so.
Okay.
Then you go to 10 to 1 for another 10 days.
Okay,
And finally, you just count from 5 to 1.
got it. So how often are you supposed to do this?
They recommend doing it 2 or 3 times a day, about 15 minutes each time.
And you can do it any time of day.
Yeah, doesn't have to be just in the morning or anything.
All right, so why that specific spot above eye level, and why the counting?
Well, they think that looking slightly upwards helps your brain shift to alpha,
Interesting.
and the counting helps quiet your mind further, keeps you focused.
I see. But what if other thoughts come in?
Oh, they will, especially at first.
Okay, so what do you do?
You just gently bring your attention back to the counting without getting frustrated or tense.
Right, because that would probably take you out of alpha.
Exactly.
So what are the benefits of just doing this basic meditation?
Even just mastering this, you'll experience what they describe as a happy stillness of mind,
That sounds nice.
and even more importantly, a deep, lasting inner peace.
Wow. Okay, so you've learned to reach this alpha state. Now what? How do you actually use it?
Well, the book gives you some pretty practical examples.
Like what?
Like, let's say you've lost something, like your phone.
Happens to the best of us.
You go to your alpha level, and you mentally go back to the last time you had it.
Okay.
You really try to re-experience that moment,
Okay.
and then you mentally move forward, visualizing the places you might have put it.
And that actually helps you find it.
As they say, it does. They have this story in the book about this guy in Bermuda who lost his plane ticket.
Oh, no.
He went to his alpha level and was able to see where he put it.
Really?
Yeah, he saw it in a closet. And when he checked, it was actually there.
That's wild.
Pretty cool, huh? And it's not just for finding lost things,
Yeah. Okay, what else can you use it for?
like remembering information.
Okay, like for a test.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you can't remember when an assignment's due,
Right.
you go to alpha and mentally review your schedule or what the teacher said.
So it helps you access information that's already stored in your mind.
That's the idea.
Okay, that's already pretty useful.
Right.
But the book then goes deeper into this idea of desire, belief, and expectation.
Right. How those things shape reality.
Yeah, and they lay out what they call 4 simple laws for making this connection.
Yeah, connecting what you imagine with what actually happens.
Let's break those down. First, desire. I guess that means you have to really want it, right?
Yeah, they give this example, like saying the next car I see will be red.
Okay.
Probably won't work because you don't really care.
Right, there's no real desire there.
But if you're focused on having a productive meeting or getting good feedback on a project,
Yeah, then there's real motivation.
exactly.
Okay, what about belief?
Belief is huge. The book says that if you set a goal that's totally unrealistic, like let's say winning the lottery with a single ticket,
Yeah, good luck with that.
your lack of belief will probably stop it from happening
I see.
because deep down, you don't actually think it's possible.
Makes sense. So desire, belief, and then expectation.
Right. Expectation is like you might desire something, believe it's possible,
Right.
but you might not actually expect it to happen.
Okay, I see the difference.
It's about really feeling it, anticipating it.
And the book suggests that visualization can help with that.
Absolutely. That's where mind control techniques come in.
Okay, so we've got desire, belief, expectation, and then there's this 4th law.
Yeah, this one's interesting.
You cannot create a problem.
Right. It sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
So they're saying when you're at that deep alpha level,
Yeah, okay.
you're more connected to what they call higher intelligence.
Okay.
And from that level, you can't actually cause harm or create negative outcomes for others.
Really?
Like, let's say you're trying to get your colleague fired so you can get promoted.
That's pretty cutthroat.
Yeah, you might be able to do that in your normal everyday state of mind.
Okay.
But at the alpha level, it won't work.
Interesting. So there's like an ethical dimension to this.
Totally.
And they even have a little experiment you can try.
Yeah, the headache experiment.
What's that?
They tell you to try to give someone a headache using your mind.
While in alpha.
Yeah. And they say if you visualize it strongly enough,
Okay.
one of 2 things will happen.
What are they?
Either you'll get the headache yourself,
Oh, wow.
or you'll just snap out of alpha.
So you're basically proving that you can't use this state for negative purposes.
Exactly.
Okay, so now you've got these 4 laws. how do you actually put them into practice?
That's where the mental screen comes in.
The mental screen.
Yeah, it's this visualization technique.
Okay. How does it work?
So first, you imagine the problem you're facing like you're projecting it onto a screen.
All right.
Then you push that image off to the right like it's going into the past.
Oh.
And then from the left, you bring in a new image, the desired outcome, the solution.
So you're replacing the problem with the solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you really try to experience that new reality with all your senses.
That's pretty powerful. Do they have any examples of this working?
Yeah, there's this story about a college student named Tim Masters who also drove a taxi.
Okay.
He used the mental screen to get more fares.
Interesting.
When things were slow, he'd go to Alpha
Okay.
and visualize someone with luggage needing a ride to the airport.
And it worked.
He said it. At first, nothing happened, but then it started working.
Wow.
He'd get this feeling that things were aligning, and then boom, someone needing a ride to the airport.
That's amazing. So you can use this for pretty much any problem.
That's the idea, yeah.
Okay. So the book also talks about memory and recall,
Right.
and they make a distinction between the two.
Yeah, they say that memory's always there.
Okay.
It's just that sometimes we can't access it.
So it's a recall issue?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They use the example of advertising. You're bombarded with ads all the time,
Yeah, it's hard to escape them.
but you probably only remember a few specific ones.
Right.
But even the ones you don't consciously remember, they can still influence you later.
Like subconsciously.
Exactly. So the memory is there, you just need the right key to unlock it.
And how does the Silva method propose to do that?
They have this technique called the 3 fingers technique.
What is that?
It's a way to instantly get to alpha and improve your concentration and recall,
Okay.
like when you're studying or taking a test.
Interesting. So what do you do?
You press your thumb, index finger, and little finger together,
Okay.
like this. And you practice doing that while in alpha,
Okay.
and you associate it with focused learning and good recall.
So it becomes like a trigger.
Right, exactly. So even when you're not in alpha, you can use this gesture.
And it helps you access that information.
That's the idea.
They have any examples of this working?
Yeah, they talk about this 4th grade teacher who used it to teach spelling. Yeah, she'd have her students write down the spelling words
Okay.
while pressing their 3 fingers together and visualizing the words on their mental screens.
And that helped them remember.
She said even the kids who usually struggled with spelling did way better.
Wow, that's amazing.
And she used the same technique to teach multiplication tables.
Wow, so they were learning faster.
Yeah, way ahead of schedule.
And Tim Masters, the taxi driver, he used it too, right?
He did. He used it to remember old routes, addresses he hadn't driven to in a while.
That's so smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Like refresh his memory before he went.
And he said it helped his college grades too.
He did.
So it's not just for facts and figures, but for skills and spatial memory too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the book also mentions this more advanced learning technique.
Oh yeah, the one with the tape recorder.
What's that all about?
So you take a tape recorder and read the material you want to learn out loud
Okay.
while you're in your normal beta state.
Okay.
And then you go to alpha and play back the recording.
You listen to yourself.
Yeah, and focus on your own voice.
Interesting. So you're learning it in beta and then reinforcing it in alpha.
Exactly. They even give you tips like how to avoid snapping back to beta when you hit play.
Like what?
Like keeping your finger on the button or having someone else control the recorder for you.
I see.
And they say that with practice, your alpha state might start feeling more like beta.
Like it's becoming more normal for you.
Yeah, that's actually a good sign.
So you might even be in theta without realizing it.
That's possible. And they recommend repeating the whole process after some time has passed to really solidify the learning.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there. Okay, let's move on to something else the book talks about. Dream control.
Let's get into dreams.
It's not just about remembering your dreams.
No, it's about creating them, using them to solve problems.
Whoa, that's next level.
They have a 3-step process for this.
Okay, what's step 1?
Learning to recall your dreams.
Because everyone dreams, right?
Right. But not everyone remembers them.
Okay, so step 1 is remembering. What's step 2?
Programming your dream.
What do you mean by programming?
So before you go to sleep, you think about the problem you want to solve.
Okay.
And you give yourself a suggestion. Like, I want to have a dream that will give me information to solve this problem.
So you're giving your subconscious mind a task.
Exactly. And you emphasize that you want to remember the dream and understand its meaning.
Okay, that makes sense. And what's the final step?
When you wake up, you review your dream.
And look for clues.
Exactly. Any insights that might help you solve your problem.
Wow, that's pretty cool. They have any examples of this working?
Yeah, they say José Silva himself dreamt the winning lottery numbers once.
No way.
Yeah, he attributed it to his dream control techniques.
That's wild.
They also mentioned 4 other mind control graduates who won lotteries.
So it's not just a fluke?
Right. They used different techniques that Silva developed later.
Wow. But where is this information in the dream coming from?
That's a good question. Silva thought that sleep might be like a prime time to receive information from what he called higher intelligence.
Higher intelligence.
Yeah, and he even wondered if we could somehow directly connect to it ourselves.
Like through prayer.
He makes a distinction between higher intelligence and God, though.
Okay, interesting. But sometimes dreams aren't so literal, right?
You're right. They have this story about a guy who programmed a dream to warn him about any dangers on a motorcycle trip he was planning.
Okay.
And in the dream, he's being served raw string beans.
Raw string beans.
Yeah, while everyone else is eating quiche Lorraine.
That's so random.
Right. And she hated raw string beans.
So what did it mean?
He eventually figured out the symbolic meaning.
Oh, so it was still a warning.
It was, just not in a literal way.
I see. So part of this is learning to interpret your dreams.
That's a big part of it, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something else the book emphasizes. The power of words.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
They use this lemon visualization to illustrate it.
Oh, yeah, the lemon. So they ask you to imagine holding a lemon, feeling its weight, its texture,
Okay.
seeing its bright yellow color, smelling its citrusy scent.
Okay, I'm imagining it.
Then you imagine cutting it open, seeing the juice,
All right.
and finally taking a bite, experiencing that sour taste.
Okay, now my mouth is watering.
Exactly, that's the point.
So just by thinking about it, my body reacted.
Your brain processed the words and told your salivary glands to activate.
That's crazy. So words really do have power.
Absolutely.
And this leads into the idea of mental house cleaning.
Right. Being mindful of what you're saying to yourself.
Because those words are impacting you.
They are. The book says that words aren't just neutral, they can actually shape your reality.
Okay, I see that.
So you have to be careful about the messages you're sending to your brain.
Like what kind of messages?
Like complaining all the time.
Okay.
Or using phrases that link everyday things to pain or illness.
Like what?
Like saying it's a pain in the neck to do the dishes.
Yeah, I catch myself saying that.
Or it's a headache to balance your checkbook.
Okay. Or being sick and tired of something.
Right. The book says your brain might take those phrases literally.
And actually manifest those things.
Exactly. So
Right.
it's about shifting your language to be more positive and health affirming.
Okay, that makes sense. And then they talk about affirmations.
Right. And they connected to Emile Coué.
Who's that?
He's the guy who came up with the affirmation, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Oh, I've heard that one.
Yeah, and the book points out that this simple phrase has helped a lot of people.
Really? Even with serious health issues?
Yeah. And mind control takes this a step further.
How so?
Well, they say that affirmations are even more powerful when you're in a meditative state.
So an alpha or theta.
Exactly. They use the affirmation, every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better.
They added an extra better.
Yeah. And they also use Coué's affirmation about negative thoughts having no influence.
So they're kind of combining those two.
Yeah. And they say that using these affirmations in alpha or theta can really make a difference.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Do they have any examples of this working?
Yeah, they tell this story about a soldier who was sent to Indochina.
Okay.
And he had only been to the first day of a mind control course.
So he didn't even learn the whole thing?
Nope. But he remembered the meditation technique and those 2 affirmations.
Okay.
And he was assigned to this really tough sergeant.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the sergeant was constantly yelling at him, putting him down.
Okay.
And soon, the soldier started having coughing fits and asthma attacks.
Wow, from the stress.
It seemed like it. But when they checked him out, he was physically healthy.
So it was all in his mind.
It seemed that way. So he started using the mind control techniques.
Meditation and affirmations?
Yeah, 3 times a day.
Okay.
And he said that within 3 days, the sergeant's negativity didn't bother him anymore.
Wow.
And within a week, the coughing and asthma were gone.
That's incredible. So even just those basic tools.
It can make a huge difference.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about how mind control addresses specific habits like weight loss.
Okay, weight loss. So they start by analyzing the problem.
Yeah.
Like, are you overeating?
Right.
Undereating?
Which can be just as bad.
Exactly. Or is it about what you're eating?
And they suggest talking to a doctor too.
Right, to get personalized advice.
Okay, so you've identified the problem. Then what?
Then you get clear about your desired outcome.
Okay, what does that mean?
Why do you want to lose weight?
Right, what's the motivation?
Is it for your health? To have more energy? To feel more confident?
Okay, so you've got your why. What's next?
Visualization. You imagine yourself at your ideal weight.
Okay.
How happy and confident you feel.
I like it.
You really engage your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what it feels like to be thinner and healthier.
Okay.
And then you use the mental screen.
Right, the one we talked about earlier.
You project an image of yourself as you are now.
Okay.
Let it fade away.
Uh-huh.
And then bring in an image of your new you.
The thinner, healthier you.
Exactly. And then you mentally go through your new diet.
Okay.
What you'll be eating. The portions.
Okay.
You affirm that this is what your body needs and that you won't feel overly hungry.
It's like programming your mind,
It is. And the book emphasizes focusing on what you're gaining.
not what you're giving up.
Exactly.
Hmm.
They even quote Alexis Smith, the actress, who used mind control and said this mindset was key to her success with dieting.
Interesting. And they recommend doing this twice a day.
Yep, morning and evening.
Okay, so it's all about creating a positive mental image and reinforcing the good changes.
Absolutely.
And the book mentions some interesting results from a weight loss workshop.
Yeah, they had this group of 25 mind control graduates.
Okay.
They met weekly for a month.
Okay.
And the 15 who went to all the sessions lost an average of almost 5 pounds.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And everyone in that group lost at least some weight.
That's encouraging.
And a month later, most had either continued to lose weight or kept it off.
Wow, that's impressive.
And the people running the workshop said it was actually enjoyable for the participants.
That's so important.
Right. It wasn't a struggle.
So it sounds like a sustainable approach.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about smoking cessation. How does mind control help people quit smoking?
Well, it uses a similar process of visualization.
Yep.
They tell you to relax and imagine that first hour of being completely smoke-free
Okay.
and really focus on the positive feelings.
Okay.
Then you gradually extend it to the next hour and so on.
So you're building up to a full day.
Right. And you're letting your mind lead the way, breaking that association with cigarettes.
Okay, so what are some specific techniques?
Well, they suggest changing cigarette brands a lot.
Really? Why is that?
They say it disrupts the automatic habit.
Interesting. Okay, what else?
They also tell you to question every cigarette before you light it.
Like, do I really want this?
Exactly. You might be surprised how often the answer is no.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they tell this story about a guy who had tried to quit so many times.
He was a chronic smoker?
Yeah, and during a mind control session, he visualized all the cigarettes he'd ever smoked,
Okay.
like a huge pile.
Wow.
And he imagined throwing them all into an incinerator.
That's a powerful image.
Right. And then he visualized all the future cigarettes he might smoke if he didn't quit.
And burn those too.
Yeah. And he said he quit for good after that.
Wow, just like that.
No cravings, no withdrawal.
That's amazing.
They do admit that the success rate with smoking isn't as high as with weight loss,
Okay.
but they still say it's worth trying.
Absolutely. So it sounds like a mix of conscious awareness and visualization.
Yeah, breaking those mental and emotional ties to smoking.
Okay, let's get into something else that's really fascinating. Self-healing.
All right, let's talk about healing.
The book has some pretty remarkable stories
Oh yeah, tons of them.
from people who have used mind control to heal themselves.
Yeah, everything from headaches and colds to more serious stuff.
Like what?
They tell this story about a woman whose husband started bleeding from his ear,
Oh, that's scary.
and they were miles away from any help.
Oh, no.
So she went to Alpha, put her hand over his ear, and mentally repeated, "Gone, gone, gone."
And the bleeding stopped.
They say it stopped instantly, and the pain went away quickly too.
Wow, that's amazing.
And later, the doctor was amazed by how fast he'd recovered.
That's incredible. So the book outlines a 6-step process for self-healing.
Right, using mind control.
Can you walk us through it?
Sure. So first you start in beta, and you focus on feeling love and forgiveness,
Okay.
releasing any negative emotions.
Right, like doing some mental house cleaning.
Exactly.
Right.
Second, you develop a strong desire for perfect health.
Okay, so you're setting the intention.
Right. Third, you cultivate belief in your body's ability to heal.
Okay.
Fourth, you briefly focus on the illness, maybe visualize it on your mental screen.
Okay.
Fifth, you erase that image and visualize yourself as completely healthy.
So you're replacing the illness with wellness.
Right. You really feel the freedom and vitality of being healthy. And finally, you hold on to that positive image, knowing that this is your natural state.
So it's about shifting your focus from illness to wellness.
Exactly. Using positive emotions and belief in your body's power to heal.
That's a powerful concept. And Jose Silva himself used this,
I
right?
did. He had really bad migraine headache.
Since he was a kid.
Did you get any of that?